Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Oliva. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am one of the retention specialists in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and I'm very excited to have you here with us. And I hope that you find the information that we will share with you helpful. Today, we will be discussing different tips to ensure your academic success at CSUF, and we will end with a brief Q&A to allow you time to ask questions about anything that we covered today. So I will be giving you a quick overview of what we will be discussing. So we want to start off by providing you with an overview starting with academic advising at CSUF. So a lot of you may not know this, but our advising model at CSUF is different from what you may have experienced at your community college. So we want to make sure that you understand how our advising structure works. Next, we will review the importance of your Titan degree audit and show you a little bit about what you can find on your audit. In addition to discussing your TDA, we'll also provide you with a breakdown on how to monitor your major progress and your general education progress, and then how your GPAs impact your academic status. And then, as I mentioned, we'll conclude with a conversation on common factors that impact HSS Titans, as well as a note from a fellow CSUF transfer student that was kind enough to share a little bit about their experience when they transitioned into CSUF. And then we'll end with the brief Q&A. So an important part of your transition to CSUF is taking the time to understand the academic advising structure. Typically, our transfer students share that they find it more difficult to connect with advisors at CSUF because oftentimes they're not fully aware of who their advisor is, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. Please be aware that while you are a student at CSUF, you will have multiple academic advisors that have different focus and expertise. So to help better explain this, we've created a visual for you, as you can see on this slide. And as you can see, as an HSS student, you will want to receive advising from these three locations. So we have the Academic Advisement Center, major advising through your major department, and then advising via our HSS Student Success Center. So first is the Academic Advisement Center. The AAC provides CSUF students with support around their general education requirements. So as you are all aware, you are required to complete your upper division general education requirements now that you have transferred over to CSUF, as well as any remaining lower division GE requirements that you may not have completed in your community college. So that is what the AAC is here to support you with at CSUF. And I will be talking a little bit more about how you can connect to CSUF, our AAC directly. So for major advising, you will have to visit your specific major department. Each major department within HSS has a different way that they schedule appointments with their students. So it's important for you to visit your department website. Become familiar with that website, understand all that it has to offer. An example for you is, let's say you're a psychology major and you're coming in and you have a lot of questions. You're going to want to go to your psychology department website and visit their advising tab for information. Now, we'll show you an easy way to find your department webpage in just a few slides. Lastly, one second, please. Lastly, every college at CSUF has a Student Success Center. For all HSS majors, it is the HSS Student Success Center. And within our center, you have our HSS Student Success team. Amongst our team members, we provide different advising to our students in the areas of academic probation, graduation planning and support, study abroad advising, as well as other academic support. So if you ever have a question and you're not really sure where to go for assistance, you can always reach out to our HSS Student Success Center and we'll do our best to direct you. Now later today in some of our other workshops, some of our team members will be diving deep into talking a little bit more about each team member and sharing a little bit more about what we can do to support you. So now that we've talked a little bit about the different advising centers, I will be going through and sharing how you can connect with each one. So if you have questions about GE courses, you can find out more about the AAC by visiting their website. If you would like to use the QR code on the slide, you simply open your camera on your phone and point it at the QR code and it should open the website directly. Otherwise, you can feel free to copy the link that is at the bottom. Julianne will also be sharing the links for each of the websites that I will be sharing with you via the chat. So look forward to those links. All of these services that I'm sharing with you are providing a virtual advising structure at this time. So if you have questions about your GE courses, you can visit the AAC website and they do have a steps to get connected via the virtual format. So to connect with your major advisor, as indicated previously, you'll want to follow the 3 steps that are indicated. So the first thing we're going to want to do is find your department on your HSS homepage. And Julianne will share the homepage with you right now. Once you're in the homepage, you're going to want to make sure to click on departments and degree programs. That is the image that you see here. And then you go ahead and pick your specific major department. So in this case, in the example that we're giving here, it is history. So we go ahead and click on history and it's going to open the window that just came up on the slide. And you're going to want to click on the advising tab. The advising tab is going to give you a really nice breakdown of what is available through your department. So it indicates whether you have to email to schedule an appointment, whether you have to follow a link to book an appointment, or it tells you exactly who your advisor is. Another thing that I want to highlight that is available through some of your department websites are other important opportunities for you. If you notice here on the screen, the history department does have a tab that highlights student organizations that are connected to the department. So that is something that you're going to want to look at, especially if you're interested in getting involved on campus. All right. And lastly, here we have how to connect with us, your HSS Student Success Center. Now, some of you may have concerns or just need support in general throughout your first semester. And we want to make sure that you know how to get in touch with us. So these are the 3 ways to get a hold of us. The first is via phone. You can still reach out to us via phone, and we do have someone available ready to talk to you. And if we don't pick up, you can always leave a message and we'll try to get back to you. So make sure you write that number down, 657-278-2594. Our email, hssuccessteam@fullerton.edu, and then our website. All right. Now that we have talked about our advising model, we wanted to take the time to break down what the TDA is and why your tight degree audit is so important. So the reason why your TDA is so important is because It's a tool created for you to be able to monitor your academic progress while a student at CSUF. If you have not yet run a TDA and you're not really sure what the TDA is, I highly encourage you to follow along and run your first TDA. So essentially, it displays all of your academic requirements and shows you what you've already satisfied and what you need to satisfy. And at this point, um, all of you as transfer students are coming into CSUF in junior standing, meaning that you have earned and transferred over a minimum of 60 units in order to be a transfer student here, which means you're coming in junior standing. And so as you can see highlighted here, your focus for now are going to be your remaining GE requirements and a majority of your upper division major requirements. So as a junior, you want to make sure that you're familiar with all of your academic supports, as well as thinking about how you're understanding your progress. So in taking a look at your TDA, we're going to first start off by making sure that you know how to log into your student portal using your sign-on credentials. And once you are in your student portal, you're going to want to click on the Titan Degree Audit application as you see here. And then you're going to want to run a current program, which will load your most up-to-date TDA. So if you're signed into your student portal or you know what this looks like, at the top as you see here, you're going to want to look for your TDA. Once you run your current program, you're going to want to click on View Audit, and that'll open what you see here. Be sure that the information at the top of your audit is correct. So the areas that I'm highlighting here are the day that it was prepared, your student ID, your program, so make sure that the major is correct, and then your catalog year. So in particular, you always want to make sure that your catalog year is correct. Your catalog year is spring 2021 because you are starting here at CSUF in the spring 2021 semester. You always want to make sure that your catalog year is accurate because the catalog year sets the requirements for which you are being held to based on the year that you started at CSUF. Be aware that requirements at CSUF change over the years, and that is why it's important for you to know your catalog year and make sure that you're running your TDA accordingly. So once you've reviewed the top section of your TDA, you're going to want to transition into looking at your general education program. So you just simply scroll down, and that's when you get to this section that we've highlighted here. So what GE courses do I have remaining? As a transfer student, you may have already finished all of your lower division, and so our focus is solely our upper division. But we want to make sure that you know that starting off in your very first semester. What do I still need to complete? Because that's what's going to help you plan your semesters moving forward. So your general education program indicates all your GE requirements, and be sure to look through this section and pay attention to the red X's. So many of you may have already registered for some of your upper division GE sections. So what we want to make sure is that it indicates that on your Titan Degree Audit, and it shows them as in progress. So as a reminder, as students starting in the spring 2021 semester, all of you have to complete a minimum of 48 units within the general education program. So additionally, if you notice that any courses are missing from your transcripts that you should see on your TDA, just make sure you connect with an advisor to understand why that may be the case, or if there's an error. So any course that you feel should be displayed on your TDA but is not, make sure you're connecting with an advisor now and trying to figure out why that may be. After reviewing your GE requirements, you can continue to scroll down to your major requirements. And this is where you're going to want to monitor your progress in your major. So as you can see here in the image, we have the major requirements section labeled, and then there is a blurb at the top. This student in particular is a psychology major, and as you see indicated, it has different indicators at the top. So be sure to read that top section for your major. It essentially gives you important information that you need to be aware of. So as you can see here, this student is a psychology major. They're required to complete 41 units in their major and receive a minimum of a solid C in order to get satisfaction in those requirements, meaning a 2.0 overall. And so if you're looking at this major section and you don't necessarily have that blurb, that's when you can check in with your department to ask questions about this section. The biggest thing here is make sure that you know what are your requirements, what classes are my options within this requirement. Try to understand what each requirement is asking of you. As a reminder, be aware that to stay on track, it is important to meet with your major advisor at least once per semester. Additionally, be sure to monitor your major GPA, which is located at the bottom of this section. And we'll dive into your major GPA a little bit more in just a second, but this is the section where you would find it. So some of you may already see a major GPA because you've transferred over lower division major courses, and so you've already gotten the ball rolling. Others of you may not have taken major courses just yet, but that's where you want to be making sure that you understand how am I progressing in the major. Now that I've described these two sections of your TDA and their unit requirements, let's talk a little bit about your overall units needed to graduate. So CSUF students need a minimum of 120 units to graduate. Overall, what makes up these 120 units are general education courses, major courses, and elective courses. This will get you at a minimum to the 120 units needed to graduate. So as we indicated, all students within the spring 2021 catalog year are required to complete 48 general education units. But what about your major units? So some of you may not be aware of how many units are in your major. So here we have a list of majors. And so what we want is for you to take the time right now to write down how many units are in your major. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to look for your major and write down that number. And I'm going to highlight here, as you can see, there is a difference between each major in terms of the unit requirement. So just make sure that you understand your unit count. And this can be for many different reasons. But as you can see, our unit counts are different depending on your major. So in the next slide, we will break down the 120 units minimum needed to graduate. So the question here is, does the number of units in GE, which for you all is 48, plus the number of units in your major, does it equal 120 units? So the answer is no. And that's okay. A majority of HSS majors are low unit majors, which just simply means that once you have completed all of your GE and major courses, you will need to complete more units to get to the 120 units minimum needed to graduate. This is where you can decide if a minor or double major may be a good option for you to reach the minimum 120 units needed to graduate. So it's important for you to start that process now and start to think about, what is it that I'm interested in? How can I take into account my career interests and my future employment perspectives, or yes, to make that decision. So now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Julianne, who is going to share more information regarding minors and how to take next steps into preparing for that.
Thank you, Natalie. Natalie and I are just going to do a quick swap on sharing screen so I can go ahead and get my presentation up. Awesome. All righty. So thank you, Natalie. As Natalie mentioned, I am Julianne Vartanian, and I am the other retention specialist for HSS. I am now going to take you through the second half of our presentation, where you will continue to receive more important information regarding your academics. So now that we know the total number of units students need to graduate, and we know the number of units you will need outside of your major and GE courses, we can pinpoint how we want to satisfy our remaining units. So if you are considering a minor, we advise you to do your research. Look into all the different options that CSUF has to offer. CSUF has over 70 minors, and the ones listed on your screen are just some of the options within HSS. So once you have narrowed down your minor options, talk to an advisor within that department. Talk to them about the different minor requirements and the different careers that are tied to this minor. Be sure to also take some lower division courses within the minor before adding the minor, just to make sure it is the right one for you. So for example, some students may be considering a certain minor, and once they take a lower division course within the minor, they may realize it's not what they thought it would be, and that's definitely okay. It happens. Just at that point, they can then decide if they want to continue exploring other options or minors. A helpful way to explore different minor options is by meeting with your career specialist. Your career specialist, Melody Lim, will be able to help you explore different career opportunities and help you determine which minor would be best for you based on your interest and your future career aspirations. Once you decide that you want to officially declare a minor, you will need to do that via a form on the Registration and Records website. Once you declare that minor, it will then be added to your Titan degree audit. Alrighty, so another important piece that is displayed on your TDA are your different GPAs. This can be found toward the end of your TDA under the Summary of Units section. There are 3 different GPAs that determine your academic standing and your eligibility for graduation. First is your CSUF GPA. This GPA is for all courses taken only at CSUF. The second GPA is your cumulative GPA. This GPA is for all college credit courses. So if a student has taken courses at a community college or a different university, those course grades will be factored into the cumulative GPA. Lastly, your major GPA is the GPA for all of your major courses. This can be found under your major requirements on your TDA that was mentioned previously. So please note that all 3 GPAs must be a 2.0 or higher in order to graduate. So when it comes to the semester that you would like to graduate, you just have to make sure at the end of that semester, your GPAs are at or above a 2.0. Be sure to monitor your GPA as much as possible so you can ensure you are on the right track. At the end of the semester, the university looks at a student's GPA and determines a student's academic status. So students between a 2.0 to a 4.0 CSUF and cumulative GPA are in good academic standing. If your CSUF and your cumulative GPA falls below a 2.0, you will be placed on academic probation and be required to work with the HSS retention specialist in the following semester. This status can impact your financial aid and your ability to register for future courses, so it's important to connect with a retention specialist should you feel you will fall below after the current semester, or if you're experiencing academic challenges in the current semester. Academic achievement is also recognized each fall and spring semester for undergraduate students whose grade point averages for the term are 3.5 or higher for 12 units of graded coursework. So if a student has been placed on the dean's honors list, they are notified in writing by their college dean's office when they have earned this distinction, and a notation is placed on the student's academic record for that semester. So if you're wanting to monitor your GPAs that determine academic status, you can find your CSUF and your cumulative GPA on your TDA under summary of units, and you can see those listed here. Also in this section, you can find your units earned. Please be aware that your units earned determine your class level. Because you are all transfer students, you are entering CSUF in junior standing with a minimum of 60 units earned. As you progress at CSUF, you will reach senior class level, which is any student with 90 units earned or more. Now, if you're wanting to see what grades you need this upcoming semester in order to reach your GPA goals, you can visit the Academic Advisement Center's website and utilize the GPA calculator. We'll be sending you that link via the chat, but you can also visit the Academic Advisement Center's website and look for the GPA calculator. Now, this GPA calculator is very simple to use and is available for all CSUF students. Should you need any assistance with using the GPA calculator, please let your Student Success Center know and we would be happy to help you. All right, so now that we have concluded our academic portion, we want to take a moment to talk about factors outside of your academics that can have an impact on your schoolwork. So please know that it may take you some time to adjust to the CSUF campus. So, do you remember back when you had to become adjusted to your community college right out of high school, or maybe when you were returning to school after being away for a while? Well, just know that this will be another transition for you, even though you are just going from community college to CSUF. It will be different. The courses will be different. You'll be starting to take more major courses, upper division courses. The online format may look different compared to last semester at your community college, and the campus resources will look different, especially in this virtual setting. So, also keep in mind your school work-life balance. You may be having changes with your work schedule for spring semester. You may have other obligations come up that will take more of your time. COVID-19 is still very much here, so that may also have an effect on your academics. Lastly, the thing going on right now, our health and wellness may be taking a back seat at times. And as we all know, our health and wellness is the driving force for all other things going on in our lives. If we are not doing well mentally or physically, it can cause that domino effect. Now, we definitely aren't sharing this information with you to worry you. We're just simply sharing it to let you know that many students experience these challenges. But what we want you to walk away knowing is that there is support for you at CSUF, even in this virtual setting. So please, if you find yourself having any challenges your first semester or during your time at CSUF, please connect with your Student Success Center so we can support you and guide you throughout your journey. So I will step down now from my soapbox. And now that you've heard this advice from me, your advisor, we now want you to hear some advice from a previous transfer student. So we connected with a previous transfer student named Michael, who is from the spring 2019 cohort. So he transferred to CSUF in spring 2019 from a community college. We asked Michael a series of questions regarding his experience as a transfer student, and we'd like to share his responses with you. So the first question that we had from Michael was, in your first semester at CSUF, what differences did you notice between the courses you had taken at community college versus courses that you were taking at CSUF? Michael responded by saying, I don't know if it was the courses or just the layout of the campus. More people, lots going on. Some classes were faster paced. It felt a little overwhelming and I wasn't prepared for it. My biggest struggle was not confronting the issues during my adjustment period. The second question was, what are some of the challenges that you experience when trying to balance work, life, and your academics at CSUF? Michael responded with, I would have to say getting things done on time. Working and being a full time parent is not an easy task. Time management can be your friend or your enemy. Try to avoid starting/ completing assignments until the last minute. If you truly space out your time throughout the week, you can have a balanced life and be an effective student. Our next question was, what resources, if any, were helpful to you during that time? Michael responded with, since I struggled my first semester, working with the HSS Academic Success, which is a program within our Student Success Center, was the best. It humbled me, but also helped me get out of my comfort zone. The program helped me connect with the campus, professors, and support staff. Once I spoke with the faculty advisor, I felt like I was put on course to succeed. After having a sit down meeting with all my professors individually, I really felt a connection and had a better understanding of what I needed to do to be successful. Of all my years, I have never sat down and spoke with an instructor before, mostly of just being afraid of what they might say. In reality, my fear was holding me back. Don't be afraid, utilize the resources. The next question was, what academic resources have made a difference in your academic transition and experience at CSUF? Michael said, team members at the Pollock Library to help get off the ground for some of my research papers. Their knowledge and their questions about my topic often help pinpoint what direction and topics I wanted to focus on with my research. This go through my paper together to give it a look over. It never hurts to have another set of eyes look over your paper. A big tip, get your work done early when possible. Professors are willing to look over your work if you can get it to them early. And our last question for Michael was, what piece of advice would you give to our incoming Spring 21 transfer students about their academics? Michael responded with, become familiar with the campus. Do not be afraid to talk to your advisor and professors. They will guide you every step of the way and only involved, introduce yourself. Setting the tone early will make a big difference as you make the adjustment from your community college. It's also okay to make changes. CSUF has so many great degree programs. Ensure you're in the one that fits you. After being on academic probation after my first semester here at CSUF, the faculty support and guidance has been instrumental to my success and helped me achieve the Dean's List my last 3 semesters. Best of luck to you all and welcome to the Titan family. So, as Michael mentioned, his GPA did fall below a 2.0 after his first semester at CSUF, and he was placed on academic probation. But once he connected with the appropriate campus resources and made the necessary adjustments to his work school life balance, he was able to earn a 3.5 term GPA and has only continued to excel in his academics. Michael is set to graduate this spring 2021 semester. So now this does conclude our presentation, but the day is just getting started. If you found this presentation helpful, we encourage you to look over all of our other workshops happening today because there's so much more helpful information that you all should know.